Hi, I'm Dave Hilowitz. So if you watched my last video, you know that I made a choir sample out of my own voice. I basically recorded my own voice 16 times and then turned it into a Kontakt library. What I didn't mention in that video is I actually recorded two sample sets, a set of me going ah and a set of me going oh. And the plan there was that I wanted to be able to crossfade between them. I wanted to have it be so that it would by default just use the ah sample. And then as I turn the mod wheel up, it would go oh, it would kind of morph into the O group. So yeah, that's what this video is about. I just want to show how it is that I did that. It's very simple, doesn't involve any scripting at all. Yeah, let's get started. So here we are in Kontakt, and at this point I just have two groups, one group with all of the ah samples and one group with all of the O samples. So my plan for this is I want the ah group to be the default sound, and then I want the O's to be what we hear when the mod wheel is turned all the way up. So by default, I don't want to hear the O sound. So let's start working with the O group, I guess. What we're going to do, and this doesn't involve any scripting whatsoever. This is just modulation parameters. What we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we have edit all groups is off so that we're only editing the O group. And we're going to go down here. I can actually close the wave editor and the mapping editor. We're going to go down to the amplifier section for the group. And I'm going to add a modulation, external source, MIDI CC. The mod wheel is a CC controller, continuous controller, and its CC number is 1. It's the first continuous controller. So by default, when I add that MIDI CC, it's going to default to 1. So I don't need to change anything. And the way it's set up is basically if the value of that continuous controller is 127, which is the maximum, then you're going to hear the full volume. And if it's 0, which it is right now, like the mod wheel's all the way down, you're not going to hear any of that O sample. So if I were to play a chord, both of these groups are lighting up, but we're only actually getting sound from the ah group. In fact, if I go to the ah group and I turn it all the way down, we shouldn't get any sound at all. So I just played a chord, we didn't hear anything because the mod wheel's down. And if I were to slowly turn the mod wheel up, so right now the mod wheel is acting basically as like a volume control on the O group. And all we want to do in order to actually have this be a crossfade instead of just like a volume control on a single group is we want to take this MIDI CC modulator and we want to add it to the ah group as well. But instead of having it be correlated so that when you turn the mod wheel up, it turns the volume up, the ah group should do the opposite. When you turn the mod wheel up, the ah group should actually come down in volume. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to reset this to 0. I just turned it down so that I could show you what the O group was doing. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add an external source, MIDI CC, same thing. The only difference with this one is we're going to click this little invert button. And basically all it does is it inverts the correlation. So as the mod wheel goes up, the volume of the ah group goes down. So with the mod wheel down, here's what it sounds like. So it's just me going ah. Now, as I turn the mod wheel up, listen to what happens. I did kind of a lousy job on this, and a lot of the O samples are me still saying ah. I don't know why that is. I think I just kind of lost the plot as I was recording. So the difference between the two layers is maybe not as pronounced as it might be. So another interesting thing about this is that you don't have to have the correlation between the mod wheel and the volume of these two groups be completely linear. So if you click this little button here and you click active, it shows you a graph. And right now the correlation is completely linear. So as the mod wheel increases, the volume increases in proportion. But you could just as easily change this and have it be not quite so linear. This can be useful if you have a bunch of different groups and you're trying to fade between them. This is a pretty finicky control, and it can be really frustrating to work with. There's another way that you can work with it. You can hit table, and it basically gives you this kind of like sort of bar graph thing. I hate working with this thing, but a few times I've had to do it. Most notably, if I have a bunch of different samples that have different volumes and I need to adjust for that, or there's been some sort of weird normalization that's taken place. Right now, I think I'm going to just keep things linear, but I think it's really good to know that you have the option of modifying it. Another useful thing to know is that you can actually save presets. In a case like this where you have two groups and both of them are supposed to have basically the same correlation except one of them is the inverse of the other, you're going to want these two graphs to match up exactly between the two groups. So it's very useful to be able to set it in one and then propagate it over the other one. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Modwheel crossfades are not that complicated, especially if you only have two groups to work with like I did here. I hope this video was helpful. I'm going to put a link to the download in the description to the YouTube video, although it's the same download as last week. So if you've already downloaded it, no need to re-download. As always, if you've been enjoying these videos, remember to hit subscribe so that you can be notified when I make more. Yeah, take care.